Welcome back, and we're having our first look at the physical aspect of our TEPS framework, and we're starting with nutrition. Nutrition can play a crucial role in freestyle kayaking performance. Your body composition and overall health directly impacts your ability to do freestyle. Being a bit overweight can make your boat feel unstable, a bit edgy, can limit the amount of air you can get. Being underweight can make it difficult to submerge the boat, really get that end in, be able to actually initiate the moves. This also limits the types of boats that you can actually purchase. There's no point purchasing a boat that's not made for somebody of your weight. And proper nutrition overall just supports your muscle development, your energy levels, and your long-term health. There's a lot of information out there about nutrition, and it's become a huge multi-billion pound industry, and with that level of money there's going to be a lot of people selling snake oil alongside actual accurate advice. Now, over the last 7 years of me diving down this nutrition rabbit hole, I've seen and researched a lot. I am making this video on nutrition for the same reason I make all of my videos, to give you advice that you can use immediately and that I would have found very useful when I was starting out. Let's get into it, and let's start by talking about what nutrition goals we could have. The broad categories of nutrition goals are improving your overall health. This is important because you don't want to die. Then we have losing body fat. Most people call this losing weight. Then we have gaining muscle. Most people call this gaining weight. As athletes, we would be aiming to lose body fat and gain muscle. Regardless of whatever your nutritional goal is, the steps that I use to create a nutrition plan for yourself are the same. And it starts off with finding your TDEE. This is your total daily energy expenditure. Your TDEE is made up of your base metabolic rate and the exercise that you do. Base metabolic rate, or BMR, is the number of calories your body burns each day just to stay alive. Even if you did absolutely nothing but lie in bed, the energy you need to keep your heart beating, your lungs breathing, and your brain working. There are some calculators online that say they can calculate your TDEE. They are vaguely accurate at best. The most accurate method is you tracking over time, and that's the method that I'm going to break down here. The things you have to track over time to find your TDEE is to track your calories. I recommend that you track all calories consumed daily for at least 2 weeks. I don't do this on a pen and paper, I don't do it in my head. I use an app called MyFitnessPal, should be very familiar to a lot of you. It's a really good app that tracks everything, and I'll add a video in the description that explains how to use it. You also need to weigh yourself consistently. I recommend you do this in the morning after you've been to the bathroom, but before you eat. Make sure you use the same scale for all measurements. That's the same actual bathroom scale for all measurements, because there will be some variances between scales and you don't want any ambiguity in your measurements. This sounds simple enough, but do it for 2 weeks and then you'll be ready to move on to the next steps.
One eternity later.
After 2 weeks, you'll be able to calculate your average daily calorie intake, and you'll be able to monitor your weight changes over this period. From just this process alone, you'll be able to see more calories equals more weight gain. Less calories is less weight gain / weight loss even. Now that we know how many calories we eat on a day on average over the course of 2 weeks, and that we know that our weight will stay roughly the same over those 2 weeks eating that average calories, that gives us our TDEE, which lets us move on to our next step, setting up our daily calories. Based on our objectives that we talked about earlier, whether we want to gain weight or lose fat, to gain weight we need to add 10% in calories to our TDEE. This will create a calorie surplus, and a calorie surplus will allow you to gain weight, and as long as you are doing this in conjunction with resistance training, you should gain muscle. You want to avoid doing too much more than 10%, as any more could lead to a yo-yo-like effect in your weight gain. For fat loss, you need to create a calorie deficit. A calorie deficit should be minus 10% of your TDEE. Any more and it can be extremely difficult to maintain long term. And if you want to maintain your current weight, eat your TDE, match that calorie output. Now that you know your daily calories, let's figure out how they should be split up. And by split up, they need to be split up into our three main macronutrient groups: protein, fat, and carbohydrate. Let's start with protein though. As athletes, it's very important for us. Protein, you want to be having around 0.8 to 1.2 grams per pound of body weight. That means if you're a 200-pound athlete, you'll be having 200 grams of protein per day. Or you should be having around 25 to 35% of your daily calories come from protein. Now, your protein intake might go up during intense training, even up to 1.4 gram per pound of body weight. I guess you're wondering why I'm using pounds for this instead of kilos of body weight. I prefer to use pounds because it makes it really simple. 1 gram of protein for each pound of body weight. But if you prefer percentages, they're there on the screen, you can use them. In some cases, if you have a considerable amount of weight to lose or gain, you should set your body weight to your target body weight, and that's within a reasonable time frame. Don't have your target body weight that you want in 5 years' time and eat to that specification. Have your target body weight that you want in 1 month's time and eat to that specification. Now, you can get your protein from any source as long as you're getting all 9 essential amino acids in the correct quantities on average, day in, day out. That is quite important and more difficult to do for vegan and vegetarian athletes. Now let's look at fat. Fat, as a healthy adult, needs to take somewhere between 0.3 and 0.5 grams of fat per day per pound of body weight. This is in around 20 to 35% of your daily calories. Again, I do prefer using the body weight method, as I just rounded up to 0.5 grams per pound of body weight, which makes my protein and fat calculations really simple. If I weighed 200 pounds, I have 200 grams of protein and 100 grams of fat. Now, the type of fat really does matter. You want a mix of unsaturated fats. These are found in olive oils, avocados, and nuts. You want essential fatty acids. These can be found in fish, or if you're vegetarian or vegan, in flaxseed. And you want some saturated fats. These are found in meats and dairy. You should really try and minimize the amount of trans fats you're getting. These are often found in processed foods and don't provide any health benefits and can be detrimental to your long-term health. Remember, fat has 9 calories per gram compared to the 4 of protein. So a little goes a long way in terms of calories. That would mean me as a 200-pound athlete eating 0.5 grams of fat per pound of body weight. Having 100 grams of fat would equate to 900 calories. That is what I would aim for my maximum. My minimum will be a little bit lower. Just make sure you don't go below the minimum, as fat is essential for hormone production, vitamin absorption, and overall health. Finally, let's talk about carbohydrates. After you've calculated your protein and your fat needs, the remaining calories can be filled with carbohydrates. Carbohydrates provide 4 calories per gram, just like protein. For a 2,500 calorie diet, where you're eating 35% protein, that's 875 calories. 25% fat, that's 625 calories. That leaves around 40% of your diet, 1,000 calories for carbohydrates, which means 250 grams of carbohydrates. Now, unlike protein and fat, you'll notice I haven't given any, minimum requirements for carbohydrates. That's because your body can actually function entirely without them. This is called a ketogenic diet. But as an explosive athlete doing freestyle kayaking, carbohydrates are your body's preferred energy source for high intensity movements. If you're still interested in pursuing a ketogenic diet as an elite athlete, I will link a great video by climber Dave McLeod about being an elite athlete in ketogenesis. It's a really good video and really eye-opening. There are two main types of carbohydrates. You have quick release, that's a high glycemic index, meaning that it's similar to pure sugar. These are energy gels, sports drinks, white bread, rice. These are great for immediate energy during intense sessions. Then we have slow release. These are low glycemic index. They're oats, sweet potatoes, most other vegetables really, and they're better for sustained energy and daily meals. For freestyle kayaking, having a mix of both is beneficial. Slow release carbs for general meals and sustained energy. Quick release carbs for during or immediately after training sessions. Now, if you're trying to lose weight, you might reduce carbohydrates first while maintaining protein and fat levels. If you're trying to gain weight or fuel intense training, you might want to increase them. The key is to adjust based on your energy levels and how your body responds. Now that you know your calorie and macronutrient breakdown, you just need to decide what you are going to eat day in, day out for the rest of your life. No, not exactly. Look, I'm not going to give you a specific meal plan here, as everyone's tastes are so different, but I do have specific recommendations that everyone can follow, which should give you a solid place to start when you're developing a meal plan for you for your sports performance. Base meals on foods you already enjoy and already regularly eat. Use the time you spent working out your TDE to support this. When you went through for those 2 weeks and recorded every meal that you eat, you will be able to see after doing these calculations based on your protein, fat and carbohydrates, which meals really do fall in line with your goals. That means you can keep those meals or modify them slightly so they do a bit better for you nutritionally. Remove meals from the rotation that did not help with your macros. Some meals are just really not effective when it comes to nutrition. Try and include protein in every meal and not just for dinner. And all of this, try and consider meal prep. This allows for easier implementation and lower cognitive load. You don't have to think about, are you hitting all these macros? You design one meal, cook 10 versions of it, have that for dinner every day or have it for lunch every day. Makes life a lot easier. Now there are loads of YouTube videos, Instagram Reels and TikToks that show great meal prep ideas that have something for everyone. Finally, you have to actually start following your meal plan. Adjust it as you need. Keep your macros and calorie targets at the forefront of your mind, but adjust it as you need. While you're doing it, track your weight and performance. Monitor your energy levels. And if you have any issues with those two, make adjustments as needed. The main adjustment you might need to make is to review your micronutrient intake. Micronutrients are vitamins and minerals that your body needs in smaller amounts, but they're crucial for overall health and athletic performance. While tracking apps like MyFitnessPal can give you a rough idea of your micronutrient intake, pay attention to how you feel and consider getting blood work done to identify any deficiencies. If you do notice any gaps in your micronutrient intake, try and fill it up with whole food sources first, before turning to supplements. A varied diet with plenty of colourful vegetables, fruits, and different protein sources will cover most of your bases. I will do a video in future specifically about supplements for freestyle kayakers, so keep an eye out for that one. Now, I created this video because the previous video I saw made by a freestyle kayaker about nutrition for freestyle kayakers boiled down to eat vegetables and don't eat junk food, which was, pretty useless advice. I'm hoping that through this video you got some concrete things that you can take away to actually start developing a nutritional strategy that will work for you. Remember, nutrition is highly individual. These guidelines are your starting point. You'll need to adjust them based on how your body responds and what works for your performance. What matters most is finding an approach you can maintain long term. I've kept this video focused on the fundamentals of nutrition, giving you the essential tools to get you started. Future videos, I'm going to dive deeper into specific topics like pre/post training nutrition, competition day fueling, and even some, maybe riverside recipes that are going to hit really good macros that I like. I've had to focus on my nutrition for a long time. And the biggest lessons I've learned, both from my own journey and watching others, is about perspective. Many athletes get so caught up in pursuing perfect nutrition that one bad meal sends them completely off track. And here's the truth. Consistency over a week or a month matters more than any single day or meal. Have you had a tough day in order to take away? That's fine. Missed your protein goal yesterday? It's not a problem. What matters is getting back on track and maintaining that consistency going forward. Don't try and make up for mistakes or make up for gaps. Don't try and put yourself in calorie debt, because you'll just feel awful about it and make you less likely to want to do it in the future. Nutrition isn't about perfection. It's about building sustainable habits that support your performance and health over time. So look, start with these basics. Be patient with yourself, and remember, you are what you eat. Eat good, be good. See you on the water, and I'll see you next time.